that we can use somewhere else in the program. And we've talked with some people about a couple problems or issues that we want to address, and the next slide has them. The faculty have decided that one unit is going to be applied toward computer programming. We used to teach a 3-unit computer programming class at the freshman or sophomore level, and then had a 3-unit numerical methods class at the junior year. And you can see, I think that's 303 first semester junior year if you look at your program or the program of study. When we reduced our curriculum, we said, well, let's put all computer programming with numerical methods. And it hasn't worked as well as we'd like. We don't get enough programming in there. So the idea is to step back and use the 1 unit for computer programming, but on a really macro level computer programming language called MATLAB. It's so you can do a lot in a real easy way using MATLAB. It's not, for those of you who remember Fortran, essentially doing a matrix inverse, you had that much code. Now you could do it in about, I want to invert this matrix, and you tell it invert matrix, and it does everything for you. So it's a lot easier, but the structured idea of structuring things, which is what programming helps our students do a lot, as well as getting students prepared for graduate school, it's real helpful. So that's our change then, to take the 1 unit that we have extra into computer programming. And that'll happen when we can. There's always bureaucracy of how long it takes us to get these programs initiated or changes into our program. Certainly, I think we're just going to make this a 3-unit class and force everybody to take the foundations. See, this is my written communications. 2 typos now. The other issue that we have is, or issue that and I have 2 of them in the notes that I think we need to begin to address, and we've started to look at this one. Written communication skills are really, the one reason I know is because in my hydraulics class 323, I include design, and when I include design I say turn in a report, and I read the reports and I grade them for technical content because I don't have time to repair all the poor, I'll be blunt, it's poor writing in those reports. And first, I don't have the time and I don't have the skill to do a great job on repairing English. And worse, preparing, and if you look in your notes, there's a note from Russ Ondolaro, who reviewed all his 301 reports from last year, which is the communications class. And he put it much better than I do, but it really is like the students sit down, don't think about what they're going to write, start writing, and then turn it in without rereading it. And the structure is all over the place. And that's really the biggest issue. You start reading something, and then you get something else, and then you're back to the same, you know what bad writing's like.
You shouldn't have to be doing that.
Right. Well.
By this time they should have English skills. Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and while they do have grammar, and according, at least Russ is reasonably comfortable with their grammar and sentence structure, but it's the structure, content of the documents is what's really a struggle. So we need to do something here. So if you look at, I think right after the Jim Bajan's notes, there's a discussion there from Russ when he reviewed the 301 reports and giving his comments about what's good and bad about them. And essentially says it's structure. And part of it is we don't give them enough feedback. So we originally the faculty had thought about, well, should we add 1 unit? And we said that's 1 unit's not going to help us enough. So we decided let's go to computer programming.
Kevin, kind of a side note, when I went to Roads and Streets, one of the things I didn't go there as a representative of the Treasury Department. I went there, of course, as a representative of the Alumni Industry Council. And one of the things I thought would be good to do is just talk to the folks that are in the booths and say, one of the things that we try to do is shape the curriculum, get feedback on how our recent graduates are doing. And the common thread I was hearing from folks that I was talking to that had knowledge of some of our graduates, or just overall graduates, if you will, is that the ability to get up in front of somebody, to do a presentation, to speak clearly, and put together a good message and write effectively, put together a good technical report is really, really important. Probably more so now than it has been in the past. So I think you're on the right track here, and that developing those communication skills is really, really important.
Yeah.
So But the fundamentals of good writing should be set before they come to your class.
I would hope so.
Yeah,
So it's almost like you need a 200 level class in their sophomore year, like technical writing that's in the English department, that would be focused for, good
Yeah.
technical writing,
Yeah.
short sentences, short paragraphs,
Yeah. Well, that's
to the facts.
Right. Yeah. Well, you read his things that the long the page paragraph. There's no break. It just kills you when you try to read that stuff.
Yeah,
Well, if the good technical writing, you got to keep it. Being an engineer, I have to overcome my fact that I don't write well. So I use, my sentence gets more than 9 words, I stop.
The Reader's Digest.
That way I don't have to worry about grammar.
You don't know where the semicolon.
No semicolon.
So is that class taught by an English department or an engineering department? I would argue an engineering department would be better for the technical writing because we know what we look for. An English department isn't going to know what an engineering department.
Well, you're a journalism major, right?
Partially.
Partially.
I did media communication.
Yeah. So I don't like to put you on the spot, but what was your comment about engineers in terms of communication?
Lack
skills?
of communication.
Yeah. And I think, we have to go outside ourselves to get those skills. Because, I think as an engineer, I think it's in our gene pool that we're good for certain things, but in terms of communicating well and writing well, I had my wife edit it. You need a good editor. The secret to good writing is having a good editor, or rewrite.
Yeah.
And you have to get the 3rd or 4th time to rewrite to the point where that's not efficient. So you get to the point where it's like, well, you need an editor. What the students need is an editor, someone to come in and help them write well.
Right.
Not you. You don't have time to do that much grading.
Right. I'm just not good at it.
Well, because you have the same problem they do.
Right. Yeah.
Is this an opportunity for a collaboration between maybe communications department, English department, and the engineering department?
Potential. Well, our difficulty is there's 2 difficulties. One is getting it. Well, 3.
Where do you put it in?
Yeah. One is getting the right people together. Second is where do we fit in the program, and third is if we put it in the program, how do we pay for it? The usual stuff.
Well, when I went to school here in 1981, I took a technical writing class in the English department.
308. Yeah. Now we can't get in there. It's required. They allow English students only. So we'd have to hire additional instructors. No, we can't get in. We tried because we had students who didn't pass or didn't have to get C's above C in first English. They had to take another course, and we said, take this. Couldn't get in.
What if you on a voluntary basis offered to undergraduates teach, you'd have to find someone to teach the class, and for some nominal fee, have it as a nighttime course during the semester.
Right. If the students recognize that this is a big issue. That's
you hear it from the workshop, a writing workshop, rather than have a whole class. You bring in,
Could be. Several days.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's sort of the things, and we had a group that got together, and I need to get them back together. Ann was on that.
You all, but we have hashed this out quite a bit for several meetings.
Yeah, with the intent of potentially fitting in the class. So now we know what our constraints are. There's a writing center on campus that does feedback and revision type stuff on campus. I don't think the students use it. Okay, that's okay.
What do you need to know about it?
Oh, yeah, Stan, you had a question. Sorry.
You alluded to it about in my experience, the people where English is a second language, they're horrible. I mean, when you review the reports, they don't, the tenses aren't.
Oh, right, yeah, right.
There's nothing right, and it really diminishes how you feel about that individual when you're going to hire them, even when they get back to you with emails. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
So it's a big problem, especially in engineering, because a lot of them go in, a lot of non-English speakers, first language, they go into engineering.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And unless they're from a country where English was the language,
Or they got taught in English.
or they got taught in
Yeah.
English, it's a disaster,
Yeah.
a total disaster.
In some cases, some are good. But
I must have never gotten any that were good.
Oh, okay. Wasani, he's really
Sons and boys, I can tell you, it's not only limited to. It goes all the way. I mean, we have a lot of, I deal with a lot of employees who are native born in U.S. and their English is lousy. It goes for everyone.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask, I mean, like the AIC student chapter, I mean, do students have the understanding that in our profession how important it is to be able to do that in a written and in a verbal communication
It's
type
not
of...
emphasized.
Say again?
It's not emphasized how important it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge for us.
Luis?
One of the problems that I had my first year with Lansey was, okay, I have a technical report for designing a culvert. None of us had ever even seen a technical report before or read through one. So when we were told, have a technical report done, we've never done one. So now by the time I'm a senior now and I'm in foundation, so our whole project is writing technical report after technical report. We have practice, but as juniors, how many technical reports, professionals, have you read through?
So, I mean, it's almost like sometime in your sophomore year, whether it was a multi-night class or, like you said, a multi-day workshop, something like this afforded the students, not affiliated as mandatory through the curriculum, but offered. You get the word out through AIC that, you guys really should think about, and maybe it's a nominal fee to you to take it, would really benefit you going into your junior and senior years and beyond.
But don't you still have that library of all those engineering news records? Are those gone? Are those
Online.
Online, yeah.
online? I guess. You get it. But that's where I learned.
But still, I think there's value in having someone face-to-face to prepare something, have it evaluated or looked at by somebody, turn it back. It may not be part of the curriculum, but offer a workshop or something to you in your sophomore year would definitely be, I mean, would it be, if you had to pay $100 to take a workshop for several days, would that be something,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Well, another idea.
That's a question on this. Why the institutional barrier that you can't get to the access to that junior level class? I mean, I'm just...
It's just their student numbers and how much they're willing.
They don't have enough
faculty, teachers. Yeah. Yeah.
So
It might be changed when RCM comes in, where they say, "All right, we can make money off of it." That's another, yeah. But now it's.
technical writing, is it also an issue for other departments?
Oh yeah, this is pervasive.
So what do they, like the science college, they need to do technical writing as well.
Yeah, this is pervasive.
What resources do they use to
I don't know if if they have resources or if they include something in their curriculum. So we need. I'll be getting that group back together, and we'll try to make some recommendations about where we should be going. But paying TAs to revise and read and revise type things, take some of our technical reports and revise. So that's issue one, or I guess our next issue that we want to take on. The second is leadership, and when I came here, I soon recognized that our students were, and this is in the 90s and early on, that our students were different than many other engineering schools. You go to SCE conference, it was around here, and our students were out talking to people, really involved and really, had really good interpersonal skills. And because of that, you could see that they're going to move up in the career. Right. I really have to admit, what I see now is not the same type of students that we had 15 years ago. They aren't the same type of people, like many of you, who are ready to get out and talk to people and try to make a good impression. And the guys, I've had the quietest class I've ever had in my career in junior level this year.
Because they text, they don't talk, they text.
I don't know what it is. This is.
So see, you need to teach them technical writing and Facebook.
Just Facebook, right? But it's by far the quietest class I've ever. And I thought it was just me. I said I'm getting old. That's not connecting as well. But every faculty is telling me the same thing. The guys were just sitting back and waiting to. Oh, good. So it's not just me. It's Spencer, who's the young guy.
He's over here. He was going to text you back, yeah.
So I would say 10 years ago, I would have never thought we'd even needed to do think about this, of developing interpersonal skills and leadership skills. I had people like Nathan, who could get out, talk to people, I mean, I look around the table, everybody here who had those basic skills, and I think that was a hallmark for U of A students, because when I went to conference, I'd see SLO huddled up in a little group. I would see UCLA huddled up in a little group, not talking to anybody, and our guys out really communicating and being involved with the rest of the people. And I'm really concerned that that's changed with our students. Even though our SAT scores are going way up, we're missing it on the other end, and a skill that we really have as a plus for our students. And I don't know if you're seeing the same thing as you hire students or talk to folks or not.